Chem 110B, sample final number 9. What products, if any, will precipitate? That means make a solid ionic compound that does not dissolve. If solutions, meaning these already dissolve, K2CO3, potassium carbonate, Al2SO43, aluminum sulfate, and PbNO3, lead to nitrate, are mixed. Okay, so the best way to do this is to split these guys into their individual ions and then look at all the possible different combinations and then apply your solubility rules. Alright, potassium is in group 1A, so it makes a +1 ion. Since there's two of them, the carbonate is a -2. Aluminum always makes an Al+3, and either you remember that sulfate is a -2 or you say there's two Als, total of +6, 3 sulfates, total of -6, so each of the sulfates is a -2. And then this one, well, this one's tough. If you don't know the charge on the nitrate, you're in trouble. You should remember that nitrate is a -1 charge, so the Pb is a +2. Okay, so we've split the ionic compounds into their individual cations and anions. Cation and anion, cation and anion. Now we mix the cation with the other anions. So K++ CO3 obviously makes K2CO3. Ionic compounds get made, so there's a net 0 charge, right? You see no charges up there. So all the cations and the anions have to add up to 0. K++ SO4, well, if that's a -2, that's a -2, so it's going to be the same ratio, K2SO4. And now we've got a K+1 and an NO3 -1, makes a KNO3. And obviously, the K+ and the Al+, they're not going to make anything, right? Plus and plus, those are similar charges, they repel each other. So they don't make ionic compounds. Same with the minus with the minus. Okay, Al+3 with a CO3 -2, it's the same ratio as the +3 and the -2 up here. So it's going to be Al2CO3, 3. Then we got Al+3 plus sulfate, well, that's that. Al2SO4, 3, and then Al+3 with the nitrate. There's 3 of the -1s with the 1 Al+3. Now let's do all 3 leads. Lead +2, carbonate -2, that's just PbCO3. Lead +2, sulfate -2, PbSO4, and then we know this one, PbNO3, 2. Okay, do you remember your solubility rules? If you don't, you're going to have trouble with this problem. If you can't split ions up into their individual, or split ionic compounds into their individual ions and then put ions together to make ionic compounds, you're going to have trouble with this too. This might be one of those ones that is not worth the work to be able to do. Still, it's really important that you know how to do this. Okay, so solubility rules. Rule 1 says all group 1A salts are not soluble. Potassium is in group 1A. So all of those are not precipitate. They're all soluble by rule 1. And you don't have to tell me rule 1, but I'm just going to do it anyway so you can remember. Group 1A salts are soluble. Rule 2 has to do with nitrate salts. Those are always soluble, which means they won't make precipitates, won't make the solid. Okay? Rule 3 has to do with chloride, bromide, and iodide. There are no chlorides, bromides, or iodides here, so we don't have to worry about Rule 3. Rule 4 has to do with sulfate. Sulfate and sulfite are soluble unless it's found in combination with, do you remember? Lead ion, silver ion, and mercury ion. Lead sulfate makes a precipitate. That's rule 4. Okay, so that's 1. And now we're up to rule 5. And rule 5 talks about carbonates, and they say that they make precipitates unless something earlier with rule 1 applies. Well, look, it doesn't. Otherwise we would have crossed that out. So all 3 of these guys like to make precipitates. Okay? And the rest do not. That's it. If you need more practice on that, this is quiz 7. Chapter 3 is the basics with ionic compound formation and splitting up into ions. And then Chapter 9, exercise 9C, had to do with the solubility rules. All right. Good luck.